Okay, today we're going to talk about lesson 8.4, but before I begin, I would like you to get out your homework. If you need to pause this video so that you can find your homework from last night, that would be a good idea. Okay, so the homework last night was in section 8.3. It was on page 520, number 8 to 14, 19 to 21. For 11 to 14, you were supposed to use a different method, and I will take a look at what you have submitted. For number 8, you should have got x equals 4. Number 9, x equals 8. Number 10, x equals 3 over 2. Number 19, 114 degrees. Number 20, 45 degrees. Number 21, 50. Again, I will take a look at 11 to 14. They were all parallelograms, but you should have chose one of each of the methods. Find the slope of all four sides. Find the distance of all four sides. Find the midpoint of the diagonals, and last but not least, find the slope and the length of one pair of opposite sides. All right, so today we're talking about 8.4. Properties of rhombuses, rectangles, and squares. I mean, maybe it's rhombi, but we're just going to go with rhombuses because it just feels right. All right, so make sure you copy this down. List the 5 properties or characteristics of a parallelogram. 1, opposite sides are parallel. 2, opposite sides are congruent. 3, opposite angles are congruent. 4, consecutive angles are supplementary. And 5, diagonals bisect each other. Okay, make sure you have all of that copied down. Now, let's refresh our memory here with vocabulary. A rhombus is a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. So remember, that just means that they are all equal in length. So if I mark up my rhombus here, that just means that all my sides are congruent. We prove it by using the distance formula. Find the length of all 4 sides. Another fact about a rhombus is the diagonals are perpendicular. So if I draw my diagonals here, that means the slopes are reciprocal opposites. They are perpendicular. And the diagonals bisect opposite angles. That means they split the angles in half equally, okay? So if I would imagine angle B here, that purple line would be splitting it right in half, just like it would be splitting an angle A. It would split angle C and split angle D. I guess all of these should have a different number of, I can't say that they're congruent, okay? Don't want my picture to be misleading, okay? So the facts are, in order to prove that it's a rhombus, you need to have all 4 sides of the same length. These are other extra facts. All right, let's talk about a rectangle. A rectangle is also a parallelogram with 4 right angles. That means that AB is perpendicular to AD. And DC is perpendicular to BC. And AB is perpendicular to BC, okay? Perpendicular lines form a 90-degree angle. They have negative reciprocal slopes. So you want to find the slope of all 4 sides. The diagonals are congruent. That means that DB is congruent to AC. DB is congruent to AC. If you need to pause the video to make sure you copy everything down, please do so. All right, now we're going to talk about a square. A square is also a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides, so it's similar to a rhombus. Okay, here's my 4 congruent sides. The other factoid that a square has is it also has 4 right angles, similar, excuse me, similar to a rectangle. So remember, to prove that they have 4 right angles, you just need to use the slope formula and prove that they are perpendicular, reciprocal opposite slopes. Another fun fact about a square is the diagonals are also perpendicular. So BD is perpendicular to AC. So there is a right angle here. AC is perpendicular, remember it's an upside down capital T, to BD. Okay, so here I have a parallelogram PQRS. I have graphed it here on the coordinate plane. We need to decide whether it is a rectangle, a rhombus, or a square. Okay, so the first thing I want to think about is the slope. Let's find the slope. We're looking for perpendicular slopes because if we have perpendicular slopes, if SP is perpendicular to SR and PQ, then also we want to make sure that RQ is perpendicular to SR and PQ. We have our choices between a rectangle and a square. All right, so pause the video, calculate the slope. All right, here's the slope. SR is undefined, right? We can't divide by 0. It's a vertical line. SP is 0. That's perpendicular, so we can go ahead and mark this up right here. Then PQ is also undefined, so that's going to be perpendicular to SP. And then QR is also 0, so that's going to fill in the rest of my corners here. They are perpendicular. All the angles are right angles. All right, now let's look at the distance or the length, okay? Because now we need to decide, is it, because it's no longer a rhombus, so we can get that out of there. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. Since we have vertical and horizontal lines, we can count the units. Remember, we did that before. So SP is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. PQ is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? They are not congruent. So it is not a rhombus and it is not a square. So I would say that PQRS is a rectangle. All right. Now, sorry, I jumped ahead here. Here we go. Let's take a look at this fabulous shape. If I could just stop messing this up. Okay, here is another PQRS, right? P is right here. Oh, I'm not writing, I'm sorry. 5, 2, Q, R, and S. Okay, so we need to find the distance. So I want you to, because in order to prove, obviously, we should find the slope to see it has perpendicular slopes. But in this instance, we can count the slope, right? We can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 over 4. If we count this slope over here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 7 over 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. They are not reciprocals, right? So I didn't flip it upside down. This should be negative 4 over 7 if it was perpendicular. So it's not perpendicular, so it's definitely not a square, and it's definitely not a rectangle. All right, so now we need to find the distance. We want to make sure that all 4 sides are congruent, because if they're not, then it's simply just a parallelogram. All right, so pause the video and apply the distance formula to all 4 sides and see if you get the same length. Okay, so I got QR is 65, square root of 65, QP is the square root of 65, PS is the square root of 65, and RS is the square root of 65. So that means all 4 sides are the same length. It is a rhombus. So PQRS is a rhombus. Sorry, I misspelled it there. All right, cool. Okay, so now you know what it takes to be a square, a rectangle, and a rhombus. All of those are underneath the parallelogram umbrella. And here is your assignment for tonight. Oh, hold on a second. All right, this is assignment number 47 on page 531, 19 to 29. You need to graph number 51. After this, you should be able to complete the following IXLs in geometry, N8 and N9. They have to do with rhombus, square, and rectangles. All right, if you have any questions, please send me a message. I will be glad to help.